Please be advised of the disclaimers.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Sai with Pinnacle Trading here. Today I want to go over 3 stocks and the overall market, but basically 3 electric vehicle related stocks that I think are in a bubble and that will see a large pullback before going back up again. And these 3 I'm looking to sell, or if you have these, I think they're a big sell right now. So let's jump into it. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe and the like button after the video. So let's jump into that. Let's look at the overall market. So we can see S&P 500, we saw a nice drop in the pre-market from yesterday, and then we saw a sell-off in the day, close into the 1 hour of the market opening, and we saw a little bit of a rebound, and we see a sell-off here as well. And we should see that a lot of people are selling off into the close as well. We can see that on the level 2, and you look at the news as well, it wasn't too good for today. So let's jump into the overall market view on this one. So we can see where I talked about the last videos, I talked about, is there going to be a recession coming in 2021 and why the market bubble will burst most likely this year, coming up maybe in the next couple months. Actually, it looks like it's starting now, and I'll show you why. So we can see we saw a huge run up from March of 2020. That's where markets tanked due to COVID really taking effect into business, people's lives, no vaccine, a lot of people were dying, etc. So we saw markets had a huge correction, pretty much a crash, something worse than 2008 because it happened so fast and it was a black swan event, and it just was a flash market dump. So we saw markets fall from 330, 340 area down to 220, 218 exactly. But we saw a nice recovery, but I still think markets are in a bubble right now, just because they were trying to fall back over here, pull back. We didn't even get about a 10% pullback, and they still went up all-time highs. Regarding the bad market conditions and all the money that they're printing right now, so I think we're definitely due for a large pullback, at least 20% this year. That's what I'm looking for, at least 20%. When we see that 10% come in, that's where we know the correction has started. When we see 20%, if we see anything more than 40%, that's going to be pretty much big economic crisis, big market crash like we saw in 2008. That was about a 50-60% pullback. It's not that bad right now, but it can get that bad, maybe even worse. We'll have to find out. So right now I'm just watching that 370 support overall. If you watch my last video, take a look at these 2 videos and you'll know the specific price points I'm looking at. But just to go over that, I'm basically looking at 370. That's a short-term support, and then I'm looking at the 350 and then the 330 area, and then 300 overall. If we can get a pullback to 300, that's going to be a very healthy pullback. It's pretty large, about 80 points overall, but that's going to be like the true value. 300 to 320 is what I really think market is actually worth healthy right now. So let's jump into the 3 stocks that I'm looking if you are in these, which I think are a sell. I'm not a financial advisor in any way, but the first one is going to be Tesla. So if you can see that overall Tesla chart, it did go up from about less than $100 and it went up all the way to about $560, $600 or so. It had a recent split last year, and then it still broke through that highs. And this year, mainly 2020 into this year, it just went up huge. It went from about 300 or so all the way up to about 800, 884 on the highs. Why I think it's due for a pullback is that it's a big bubble. So what an example of a big bubble is Zoom stock. It may be great for long term, it may be good for short term during this COVID, what's going on right now, how the times are, but this is an example of a big bubble that burst. So we saw the markets were, they fell in March, and then what happened, Zoom kind of took over because they had that for the business, a lot of people working from home, and we saw the stock go up and go up because a lot of people were using it. They got huge demand and the supply was immediately there, but there was this huge demand for it. So the company was growing and growing really fast, and just a lot of subscriptions that they had. What happened? Stock flew. So went from about 100 to all the way about 588. Let's call it 600. So about 5 to 600% return on that one if you bought below 100. What happened? It went all the way up to 600 or so, and then you see the RSI is just way over that 70. And what happened? So if you look at this right now, if we zoom in and we scroll out, what happens? It kept going up and up. And what do people think? That it might keep going up, right? But what happens when we see the pullback? It tried to break over that resistance again, and people saw that Zoom might be here now, but it might not be there in the future, right? Just like Skype, like it's still there, but the hype might not still be there. But the hype for this one, what happened? We saw a huge hype. We saw a lot of people using it, but the stock price wise, it's not really a fair value. It's not really worth it. It's not a good opportunity to get in at all-time highs. So we saw pullback, pretty big pullback from all the way from 588 down to 350. So about 30-40% drop on that one and a sell-off, and we're seeing a rejection of 400, so most likely test of 300 again, and to come back down to reality. So that's what I think is exactly going to happen with Tesla. And you can see that RSI is way over in 70s. We started seeing the pullback in the recent months. So if we look at 20 days, we see that hit all-time highs again, and then we saw a sell-off. It's barely holding that 50 SMA and coming back down. So once it starts breaking 800, that's where you want to be careful. That's a big support area. You can see that right there, and that's where we're going to see a sell-off. So watch that 800 and the 200 SMA area, 783. But if you are in this right now, I think it's a big sell. If you did make money on this, congratulations. But you just want to tread lightly right now. And I say when in doubt, it's great to sell 3/4 or 2/3 of position, ride the rest with a stop loss around 800, 750, or a trailing stop loss, and then go forward from there. Another one I think is to sell as well, or at least to wait for a pullback, which is actually happening right now. So this is pretty healthy. So this is NIO. So you can see right now in that one, it's a Chinese EV company. And what happened, it really blew up in the last, this year, past 3-4 months actually. And we can see that it went all the way from about $6 to $10, $5 all the way up to about 67. And same thing for this one, we're seeing a pullback. So look for a pullback to about 50 area or so, and then go from there. If you are in this, it's still a sell right now, and this is selling off. I know, just like Tesla will be, most likely will be soon in the future. And the last one is going to be Plug. That's PLUG. What they provide is a lot of the hydrogen fuel cells, electric companies. They provide solutions to those companies. So a lot of these companies are going to this one. They're saying we need this and this for the company, to grow for the charging stations, whatever it is. So Plug Power is one of them that's providing for that. But we saw this one a lot more blow up than Tesla or NIO. So this went all the way from just about being a penny stock, about $2-3, all the way up to 73.9. So this one I think can fall a lot more, probably most likely to that 55 and maybe even 50, maybe even back to that 30s. So just be careful with this one, because there's a lot of hype on electric vehicles right now, but I don't think it's fair value on the stock. It's not a good opportunity. Not just that it's not a good opportunity, you might be in it for the long term. This can easily be on hundreds in the future, but I just don't think it's a good value right now to be getting in for long term. So most likely wait for a pullback, and also look for a pullback in the stock market as well. Then you can go from there. But I think these three stocks that I talked about, Tesla, Plug, and NIO, are most likely to sell right now. And they're just bubble stocks, a lot of hype out there. And you can see that with Zoom. That's a big example I want to show you, because that's what just happened recently, and we're still using Zoom, but the value in the stock, it's not so good. So just keep that in mind if you are in those stocks. Again, I'm not a financial advisor in any way. I can't tell you to go sell, go do this, but I'm just showing you my analysis and my suggestions. So if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn how to do chart analysis, etc., join the free chat room that I have, and I call that out in the daily watch list, which stocks I'm looking to sell or which ones I think are a sell. And also we have long-term investing alerts, charts, and analysis. I talked about the market, where the support levels are, and I talked about the options. So if you want to get more into that, enhance your education, head over to pinnacletrading.us. You can join the chat room for free, or in the YouTube video link description below. And if you want to enhance your education even more, grab my course. That's where I teach you about stock market education, trading, investing, and some of my secrets to you that you can use every single day to fine-tune using your strategy, whether you want to day trade, swing trade, invest, or create income from the market, whatever it is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If it helped you out, make sure to click that like button and the subscribe, and let me know what you think of the stocks that I went over and the overall market below in the comments. And hope to see you in the chat room. Chat room is free to join. Link is in the description below. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you again in my next video.